Right, let's get some reaction on this allegation. I'm joined now by Water and Sanitation Deputy Minister David Mahlobo. DM, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. Let's get clarity first. Do you have units there that you own as the department that you have allocated to particular tenants, much to the detriment of others, and in clear terms, white tenants to the detriment of black tenants?
A very good evening to you, Thabo, and to your viewers on a cold Sunday. The incident that has happened in Hartbeespoort, it must not be characterized in many ways. What has happened is criminality. When individuals, they choose to burn down people's assets in terms of arson, it's a criminal activity that must be dealt with decisively by law enforcement agencies. When it comes to the dams, Thabo, we need to indicate that most of the dams in South Africa that were built during the course of apartheid, including Hartbeespoort Dam that is more than 100 years old, those are the dams that belong to the state. And in the main, due to apartheid policies of the time, those dams were either the use of those facilities around to the dams, they were preferred on an issues of racial basis. But at the very same time, these dams were also used for single-purpose dams, where many other uses like domestic use and others were not supported by these dams and communities closer to the dams. The incident that has happened is actually very unfortunate. We have interacted with a number of stakeholders. We took a decision with the then minister that these dams cannot remain an island within communities where people are. Therefore, communities that were displaced when these dams were formed, whether in Harties, whether in Nandoni, whether in KwaZulu-Natal, these are the people that this government must give them the access and economic opportunities, whether for recreation, whether for tourism, whether even for agriculture and other aspects that are there, because to have a dam next to you, it is an economic opportunity. Right. But some of these particular infrastructure, when we inherited them, we found that there were 99-year leases that were given to certain white privileged individuals on the basis of an apartheid system. A decision was made that, one, we are cancelling all the 99-year leases that are given to these people. And then we then actually instituted a new lease agreement. There is a policy in line that the areas around our dams and access to the dams, they can be open under the guidance of the minister, promote issues of equity and transformation. Therefore, these are the main issues that we are dealing with in terms of trying to get our black people to have socio-economic activities, including issues of culture and heritage around those facilities.
Are you aware of the withdrawal of a permission to occupy issued to one of the tenants there in 2022?
I'm quite aware. There have been a number of organizations there. There are issues of racial tensions that we shouldn't deny, where some of the people that have been around in that facility for quite some time, some of them, they are very intolerant. For an example, they quibble on a small matter, like an issue complaining that someone is selling liquor there. The noise levels are very high. They've been complaining to us as a department around those particular issues. Some of them, they've been fighting our decisions to terminate the 99-year leases. They took us to court, they lost in court. Currently, the matter is in the Supreme Court. In the meantime, because of the delays in the processing of the lease agreements that are actually opening up the space now, we only gave them permission to occupy for a period of not more than 2 years. And our instructions are very clear. We don't want anybody around the dams to build a permanent structure, because that infrastructure and the asset, it belongs to the people. and the minister is the custodian on behalf of the people. But currently, the allegation that they are making about our staff members, an investigation has taken place. I was briefed today. The final report will be on our table before the end of the week. Also, the Human Rights Commission has been involved around racial tensions around those issues where certain people, they think that they have a birthright to use the facility when the facility must belong to all our people.
Yes.
And the Human Rights Commission was cleared up. Let's open up the access to the dams for the benefit of all citizens, but with a primary focus for those parents who used to be displaced by the building of these dams.
Yeah. Now, with the court order, does that not empower you to then carry out evictions legally of those who are illegally occupying those units and blocking access for others who would like to occupy? Because they're saying the department seemingly is reluctant to do even that, and that they're saying is the reason why they're complaining that you're stifling the transformation that needs to be taking place in those spaces.
We're not going to engage in a haphazard manner on recycling of people. One of the things that has happened is their legacy issues, Tab. And the legacy issues, we must do an audit. I was once an official in that Department of Water and Forest many, many years ago. I know certain people who occupied the land illegally. Some of them, they stole the assets of government. We are conducting an audit on that particular point, ensure that the new policy that was signed in 2022 around issues of access to that particular land is done in a particular issue. But at the very same time, there are traditional communities in the Northwest. I've interacted with them themselves, Amakosi, when they are saying that they are denied that particular access. And our commitment is very clear. There will be equal opportunities that will be given them. But when it comes to eviction time, remember the laws of our land. If people get to occupy a particular space over a particular period, you will have to make alternative arrangements to deal with some of those particular issues. It's not a simple matter, it's a complex matter. I know that we actually even have a committee right now that is processing the leases. We even actually went out to Tabo to say, opening up our dams and infrastructure, we asked for requests for proposals for all the dams in our country for people who want to do business opportunities, that they must be able to be in a position to apply. We even did an addendum in terms of an erratum, in terms of that RFP. These are some of the issues, but when we've got this final report, we will make an opportunity to announce the results of this investigation. We'll be able to interact with you so that at least we know that while some people felt that they had an entitlement when they were using this infrastructure before the 1994 and the National Water Act of 1998, we'll then be able to ensure that there's justice and equity and redress, but without disrupting the business opportunities that are already employing certain people and creating economies around our dams.
So things like, at least in the last, shall I say, 10 to 12 years, but more specifically around the period of 2012 and 2022, that about 40 leases by black applicants would have been rejected without due process. Is that what you're saying you're investigating and this report is going to reveal?
That one, to say so many were actually rejected, is not absolutely correct. There is an allegation, and people, they just jump. They just jump because a particular official of a different race in the department, you want to single them out. We're not dismissing those allegations, but the report will be able to do that. But I know, for an example, I dealt with the issue of Nandoni, where many of these leases, especially by people that were displaced, those who gave us the land to build the dams, were not given an opportunity because they don't have the capital. Because if we are going to do tourism, remember when we do the lease, we still have to get money back as a state. And when you don't have a collateral, and most of our black people got to be rejected in most of the time. That's why even the attempt to do an RFQ to say, put a proposal so that we can and see how do we support those particular issues. But I can tell you now that old policy of supporting only white people has been abolished by this government. This policy that black people can't use our dams cannot continue to be the thing. that is happening under this current administration. The very same thing where you had these dams so beautiful around communities, they can't even have access to water around those particular dams. We've cancelled the policy where a dam is used for a single purpose, either for agriculture or for industries. But the right to have access to water and the economic benefits around water next to our infrastructure has been actually been cancelled. That's why there's that policy to say, how do we open it up for previously disadvantaged individuals, especially for women and children, women and young people, I mean, that are from those surrounding areas.
Yes. Now, knowing yourself that there are these current tensions, there is this messy situation, there is criminality, as you put it, that is taking place, including damage to vehicles and so on and so forth. What is the security plan? What is the security response there to try and, I suppose, arrest that situation?
Ours is to call for calm, Tavis. We need to call for calm and restraint. Let's be tolerant. The fact that certain people, they look different from you, they speak a different language. We must embrace our diversity, especially now. Our diversity is part of heritage in this Heritage Month. But in matters of criminality, will not be tolerated. Those who are breaking the law will be dealt with decisively because it's an important issue. Then the other issues, nobody has the right to erect any structure around our facilities without the proper authorization by the delegated authority in terms of the Director General and the Minister. Those who have applied will ensure that there is a consideration around the lease agreements that are them and the speeding up of the particular processes, including the investigations. I'll make time on behalf of the minister that we go and visit those particular communities, engage with them, because they will have to accept that there has to be a need of coexistence. We're one country and one people, and nobody has a right to say others must be chased away, but at the very same time, the others must also be able to respect the existence of the other communities around our infrastructure.